Free the Pod campaign is an exciting project that's never been tried in the world before. And it's actually releasing the pod of dolphins that are at Gavutu right now, which amounts to 17 animals. Pod means a group of dolphins. So we're talking about releasing the remaining dolphins at the Gavutu facility in an integrated project for the public and conservation and research. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the support I needed in the North America from the large conservation groups to protect these animals as much as they needed to be protected once they're released. And the government is willing to protect and do the 5-year research on the animals to make sure that they're integrated back into the wild, but with no funding we can't proceed with that. And the exporters are building a 1 kilometer net right now, and that's a huge net, and so I have to be careful that the animals aren't released just to be caught again. So because of that, and because I haven't got the support I needed for the full release, what I'm going to teach the dolphins to do is that they can have sanctuary here in this side of the facility, and I'm going to teach them to go back and forth between the wild and this closed off area of the facility, so that I know that they can be protected, that they can still go out into the wild, but that they actually every night can be safe from never being caught for export or killed for their teeth. Just coming out of Peanut Head with this one here. You can see from up top how the head starts looking like a peanut, and that's from when you're slow on fish. But a good sign is if you look along their back, the back's filling out and they don't have any, yeah, this one, yeah, you definitely would like one more, wouldn't you? Okay, buddy. There you go. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's finished. Yeah, I know. Everyone say they helping you guys, but no helping too good yet. Okay? Yeah, I know. Finished, I know. So the behavioral principles of this is that we're going to teach the dolphins that they can be provisioned through here at high tide. So currently the animals are protected behind us in the large bay because it is netted off. And so we're going to open up the underwater gate here and we're going to start feeding the dolphins into this cove. And that will get the dolphins to go back into 2 different pools. By crossing over 2 different pools, they're going to be able to be directed where we feel they need to be protected. So what you're going to do is drop the fish from the canoe, and as best we'll stand around the pool to see which dolphins are eating, and then just get them just dropping it. So you paddle, then just drop it. You don't want them feeding too fast. Just sort of paddle for a bit, drop a couple fish, maybe 2-3 fish, paddle for a bit, drop some fish, and then slowly leave from here. Get them eating right away so they know what's happening, and they follow you. And then try to get them around the gateway. Yeah? Okay, drop it. Push it out. Just throw the fish so it lands near you. Yeah. And push beside you. Right here. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, now just tap it. Try to get right in the gate. How much fish you have? 4. Try to move up right in the gate and then feed one. Okay, drop one there, right beside you. Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay.
Come now.
Wait. Get ready to feed again. Bang. And then as soon as he comes.
There's
One more
in.
inside. Feed. Okay, go.
It's a
You
dick.
feed these ones. These are our two. Huh?
Yeah.
Who is that? Snow. You wait there. Feed here. Everyone there, yep. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many? How many you got? How many dolphins? 5? Yeah, okay. Today was a perfect example about what Free the Pod can be about. Because within one session we were able to take 2 dolphins out into the cove. And Udo did a perfect job paddling the canoe out just far enough so that the dolphins could follow it, but not too far so that they don't get pressured into doing it. It's all based on their choice. Last one. Okay, so we just finished the first successful day of taking 2 of the dolphins out to the other pool, to the cove side, and bringing them all back at the end of the day. It was very successful, as all 13 of the animals are back at this side of the facility where they're protected from not being caught for export or killed for their teeth. When I was overseas, a lot of the time I talked to the people in the conservation groups that I'm also trying to raise money to help the fishermen and the communities here, because through the years of the Dolphin Project, they've benefited as well. So when the animals are released, in order to protect them stronger, I believe we need the community support and the fishermen's support and everything from having alternative income than from dolphins.
People in rural area, we will suffer too much. Time lo beginning lo operation lo company, we will happy. Time selling him flow coming set for we will happy. We will look at what no Dolphin Island him doing for well. Then especially Chris the management block company will happy. Time this time one more downfall block company, we will bar suffer too much. We will rural area suffer too much. Especially lo province we will him no any company this time lo province block. Some for a place where we will benefit no more inside lo Dolphin company. This time crisis blow company lo Dolphin Island mi wal bar safa ko bude looking how mi wal come stranded family blow mi wal depend lo you too time mi wal looking mi come mi wal happy mi wal fisherman mi wal happy mi wal inside lo village blow wal almost 700 people inside lo village blow me I think less 10 no more worker
Less than 10.
Less 10 about 7.
And then how many people in your village you think benefit from Dolphin Island? I'm him good.
Almost the whole village can benefit.
Say, me recognize that me teach him benefit from Dolphin Alive, yeah, for export. Show him valuable. Show how to use him resource for benefit to you. How to use your land, how to use your sea for your benefit, yeah. So now as we talk about conservation and preservation, That's what I'm challenging the people overseas, is we must also show the economical benefit to the people. And if we don't invest in this economic benefit now, then they won't invest in it for their futures of their children. And that's what we've done wrong in North America. We haven't invested for our kids' future, and so us adults are losing out right now because we don't have enough of stuff. So that means our kids aren't going to have anything.
Tu mas no one me give me well today, at least you are happy. Our family by looking a little bit chilling when you are taken today, but happy. Yes, but you will North America, you will try for come to Solomon Island for come and help me well, especially me well rural area or central province. Me will fight them hard time. Time me will come and fight and also here before me will nothing receive and do something very well. So you will want him will doing like him this time will come and look me well people rural area.
Lugar excelente, mas helpen bos. No hay lugar excelente, no estilo waka no mo. No lugar excelente, ni waka no. Bos mi lugar excelente ni me pon lugar excelente ni bayo mi.
Maclean, nebelumnya Wakamalo Dolphin Island too. So, place belumnya Kosavlo Islandnya. So this time, hemi para affectim tu saat dalo cash flow lo areas belum where hemi affectim o kata pisaman bumifala tu. So mi follow fight them hard time. So me wish if any supporter or any help from anyone, sabe help them boss po hemi sabe help me fala.
Today started out very exciting. We had a tree fall down from strong cyclone winds, and the weather was wet and rainy, but it turned out to be a very successful day because for day 3, Slow went back and forth between the Cove open pool and the sanctuary side of the facility. And she even went across during low tide, which only left about knee deep of water. And dolphins don't like small confined places because of course they're open to wide open seas. So for her to adapt so quickly to this plan and to go back and forth through the cove, she's going to lead the other dolphins to become more and more confident. And while she's going back and forth, all the other dolphins are watching her and seeing where she's going and that she's returning. It's very promising that this plan will work and we'll be able to protect the dolphins by still allowing them to go out into the open ocean, to be released into the open sea, and then provide them the sanctuary of the facility to ensure that they're not caught for export or killed.
Today was a tough day. The winds are still blowing here and the seas are rough, so it's hard for fishermen to get here. It's hard for fishermen to even go out fishing. We're down to our last 40 kilos of fish for the day for the animals. The diesel fuel is running out and only have a couple hours of generator time. The animals, of course, with the cold weather and smaller amount of food, definitely eager to participate in the new process of going over to the cove side of the exhibit. And it was exciting to see the youngsters, Kobe and Viti, help Viti's mother, Katame, become more confident in the gateway. The two youngsters, of course, know the entire facility. For them, this is like a new area just to explore and a fun game. Confident as we get more food in here and that we get the higher tides coming through the day, we can start feeding more and more into the cove open side. and allowing the animals to travel freely between the cove side and the sanctuary. And eventually they will decide upon their own where they end up. They will decide their own if they will swim away from here free and swim away here without any protection. I can only hope that we all can come together to find a solution for these animals and help free the pod in a way that it matters. Free the pod that these animals can't be caught again, and that these animals won't be killed simply for their teeth.
The weather calms down a little bit, allowing us some reprieve against the strong winds and rain that we've been having. And the water clarity greatly increases in the sanctuary, allowing us to explore all the fun life within it. Finally, our fishermen are able to return with at least one esky of fish for us to help us with the open release program. SLO is doing amazingly well. SLO spends an entire day over at the cove side despite the gateway being open to the sanctuary side, allowing us time to see how she's adapting and seeing how she relates to being separated from the other animals. All the animals pay close attention to what she's doing and wonder why that gateway is open and where is it leading to. And Cove and VT and their moms are also very intently watching what's happening on that other side. This week we have some repeat visitors all the way from Montana and Russia who bring with them a great sense of love for the dolphins, as well as a unique microphone, a simple Radio Shack microphone with a condom on it that allows us to enjoy hearing the dolphins. Today was a groundbreaking day for SLO, where she actually went out into the open ocean and returned back into the facility. It was a short trip, but a trip that she remained calm and focused throughout, able to return back to the sanctuary where we're able to protect her. The other dolphins are doing well. Fish supply is still a little short, producing a lot of competition amongst the dolphins. But they're adapting very well to our concept of creating this open release program. In fact, VT and Katame, his mother, actually both end up at the cove side during the morning, all on their own. Being together alone on the cove side seems to bond VT and his mom even closer. Even to the point where we see VT, who's more comfortable in the gateway than Katame at this moment, grab some fish and go out to the deeper water and feed his mother.
Still hold him. Okay, mom take him.
They seem to enjoy swimming with our guests in the cove side. This allows them to get more comfortable in this new area for VT. VT and Katame spend the whole night over at the cove side. We monitor them and have 24-hour watch with them. But during the night something spectacular happens. Katame understands that the gateway connects the two pools, and she spends her time swimming back and forth trying to get VT to come back with the rest of the pod. But VT for some reason is a little nervous. And during the day, Cove, VT's young companion, starts to come back and forth between the cove all on her own, separating herself from her mom simply to come and play with VT. And through the day, Kove spends a lot of time jumping and making as much noise as she can back in the sanctuary side, and you have to feel that she's trying to call Viti back in to join her with the rest of the pod. The seas remain calm, and we're able to get a steady supply of small fish for the animals. Still not enough for their daily requirements, but at least enough to continue with the process of bringing Katame and Viti back into the sanctuary. Katame continues to amaze us with her maternal instincts, swimming back and forth between the sanctuary and the cove side to try to show Viti where to go. But Viti simply ignores. Even when she separates herself for periods of 2 to 3 minutes on the other side of the gateway, hoping that Viti crosses. Fortunately, after another day of low fish supply, some new fish arrives from Haniara. This helps us greatly to assist us bringing Viti and Katame back from the cove side to the sanctuary side, where the next day they continue to bond, just as I first saw them when I thought about separating them. After spending 6 days with the dolphins, our Russian return guest from Montana becomes one member of the pod and rests with the group, something that I've never seen before in any aquarium I've ever worked with. With the dolphins continuing to cry for fish, we try everything to get as much fish into the facility as we can to help us with this release program. We go out one night with a long-term fisherman of ours, giving the petrol and kerosene to go try to bring some fish in to feed the dolphins. The process is simple. A large bright light attracts the fish. The smaller fish arrive first, and then the bigger fish. And by simply laying a net, you're able to attract more and more fish to the group. When the net is pulled in, there's some fish, but not enough to satisfy the dolphins' needs. Some say fishing has declined in the last few years. Some blame it on the large purse seiners that have come to the waters of the Solomons and continue to take the large fish. With the bad luck of the fishing and the weather getting worse, it's time that we prepare to pre-release 5 of the animals. We take down the nets and we organize ourselves to select those that are suffering and those that need to be released, to give them a chance to find their own food. It's frustrating. It's something that I've gone through in the past, through the export, through the ban, and it's frustrating now to see we must rush the release process for the simple reason of a lack of funding. A teacher from Australia comes and learns about dolphins, never being so close to one in her life. Slow, amazingly, allows me to touch her freely and push her around. I'm able to examine her whole body, to see her body condition, to see that she needs help. She has become over social. She has never been so friendly. And for me, it's like a calling saying, I need help. This amazing social interaction convinces me that we must go into the pool. We must separate the animals that are suffering and retain Kove and Viti to be protected in the sanctuary so they're not caught for export. To allow us to have more food resources for the remaining animals, we decide to release 5 of the 13 in the pod. We guard the net safely. It's a tiring, emotional time.
We do not want anything to happen to these dolphins. They're part of a release program. It should be prosperous, it should be positive, it should be good for the animals, and it should be good for us. Rushing it saddens me. The animals display signs of needing attention. Positive note is we're able to remove a hickey fish, as the locals call it, from one of the dolphins before we release them. The animals wait calmly while we hold them, and we let them go to give them a chance, to give them some hope, and we hope too that they will be able to adapt back into the wild. Two of the animals remain behind, looking into the pool. It is hard to say if they want to go back into the sanctuary or if they're waiting for the others to join them. But without getting the proper protection for Kove and Viti, it's hard to release them into what could be their peril. So we hope the animals released represent Free the Pod forever.
Fortunately, last night the fishermen, after 3 days of the dolphin and myself not eating, I wanted to have some empathy with the dolphins, so I stopped eating myself as well. And fortunately, last night some fishermen came in with about 80 kilos of fish. So with 8 dolphins, that's a good head start.
With 2 buckets of fish, we were now able to give the animals 2 kilos each in one feed. This was the reasoning behind the release of the 5 animals, to help spread the small amount of fish that was arriving to the facility due to a lack of funding. This graph helps illustrate our up and down struggle with the fish, going through periods of red up to periods of green, and then just recently this quick downfall back into the red. But as this graph helps illustrate, we are now able, with a smaller amount of fish, to quickly increase the animal's daily average. This will help us spread the fish more efficiently to Kove and Viti, providing them more security and providing myself also with a sense of safety and security for these animals. Independence Day for Solomon Islands, July 7th, 2010, and we wanted to paddle the animals out. It was the last feed of a day full of fish for the animals, so it was a good test to see how the animals would follow. Everything started out as it has been in the past. Kove quickly following the canoe, and Queen right behind. With the cove side completely open now, it would be interesting to see what would happen. How would the animals react? Would Viti and Katame cross? Queen continues to go right out into the open ocean. At this point, Kove returns back into the sanctuary, where all the other animals for some reason have all stayed behind. Queen continues to follow Udu in the canoe, just like as she always has, as if she was following a member of the pod. But as Udu returns to the sanctuary, Queen decides to stay out. She chooses to stay out. She chooses her independence on Solomon Independence Day. As night comes to the Independence Day, there's a feeling of accomplishment that I gave Queen her choice to be free. This morning, we're pleasantly surprised to see Queen sitting right in front of the sanctuary, looking at the other animals. This causes our boats to leave the island cautiously, in order not to startle Queen, who continues to observe us and continues to look at the other animals, while at the same time taking a small feed from us. Though she eats from us, she chooses to continue to stay in the wild, and I'm happy to give her that choice. But her behavior causes a change in the other animals as well. The 2 mothers and the 2 babies start exhibiting wild-like pod behavior of traveling in a line with the babies close to the mother's sides.
This is very similar if you're looking at a large group of animals traveling great distances while they're feeding. And I can't stop to wonder that perhaps Queen's actions in the wild are being reflected in the pod.
Live one.
You